Today's webinar. We are happy that you are joining us today. My name is Selina. I'm working in the team Partner Onboarding and Lifecycle as a Success Manager, and I will guide you through this webinar. As you can see, I'm not alone, and I have my colleagues from different departments with me. The aim of this webinar is to ensure that you have a good understanding of our onboarding process and can navigate it successfully. We will now go through the onboarding process step by step, and at the end we will of course have time for your questions. And at this point, if you have very specific questions that cannot be answered here today, please feel free to send them to us afterwards and we will provide you with the answers. We will record the webinar and make it available for you for review. The schedule for today is after the registration, we will take a look at the welcome page, the contract page, the input mask for the OTTO Payments onboarding, and then we will have a look at the preparations for going live. This includes the contact management, the tax information, shipping profile, shipping and returns informations, and the imprint and some information about regulations and guidelines, and the product data, and my colleague will explain how you get access to the API. As already mentioned, we will have time for your questions at the end. So now we start with the registration via Otto.market. Once you are on this registration page, you must fill in your contact information. As the first name here in the example, it's Klaas Ditschler. The last name, the email of the main contact, and the telephone number. And for the contact information, it's very important to note that you must provide your full name as it appears in your ID document, for example, including any middle names. And then you can continue with your company details. Here in the example, it's the webinar BV. Here you can enter your company name and then select the country where your company is based from the drop-down menu, and you collect your legal form from the drop-down menu as well and enter your VAT identification number. As far as I know, you all do OSS, so please confirm it here again. And you need to have a German-speaking customer service, which must be confirmed here once again. And for this, it's important to mention that this is only necessary via email. So you don't need to have a German-speaking telephone support. And after the company details, you continue with the assortment where you need to select the product categories you want to sell on the marketplace. And as you can see, you will be asked for a few more questions about certifications and service providers, and at the end about the shipping and returns information. Yes, and after the registration, you will see this when you log into the partner portal where you can start the onboarding process. So you will take into this welcome page, and to start the onboarding process, you just need to click on Start Now on this red button. And then you will be redirected to our contract page. Here you will see the platform terms of use. So this is the contract between you and us, and the payment service framework agreement. This is the contract between you and OTTO Payments. So you can digitally agree to both contracts by ticking the checkboxes, and at the bottom of the page you need to tick the box for data processing. Yes, and once you have agreed to the contracts, the OTTO Payments onboarding will be activated. And now I will hand over to my colleague Alexandra for guiding you through this process.
Yes, hello. So on this page, you need to enter the application data. In this moment, you have to think first, who is the best applicant for your company? So it can be anyone, but make sure that the person you are choosing is the one who enters all his data and also the address, which is necessary later on for the ident process. So make sure you check who is the person who likes to do that. And if the person is not the owner of the company or the legal representative, there is an power of attorney necessary, which I will show you later, because this is something some companies don't know how to fill in. So on this page, after you have chosen who is the applicant person, you can provide your data. And as you heard before, please make sure that all your names are inside. It sounds easy, but it's necessary for the ident process later. And if there is only, or if there are names, not fully completed inside, the ident provider will have problems later on. And so you can enter now your data and also your address. And as I said right now, if you are not the legal authorized representative of the company, here in that button, you can download the letter of attorney and you can fill it in. On the next page, I think you see it. So please make sure that the first person here is the one who is the owner of the company, and the authorized representative is the person you've chosen to do the process now. And then we need a sign from both of you, from the owner and of the representative. And if you are on this page now, you have to upload all the necessary documents. So there's a proof of account. So we need a proof that is that shows that you really have this account, and that we can check this. And also you can upload the letter of attorney you have seen before. And also the other point, the organizational chart, it's not a must-have, but it's easier for us and also for you maybe in the next steps that you see what companies do we have, what shareholders are in the companies, and that all the affiliated companies are shown. So if you have it, please upload it and make sure that the documents can only be in German or in English. And on the next page, you have to enter all the company data, like the address. And you see on the next slide also the KVK number, which is the register number of your company. So this number is very important, and also in which industry sector your company is working on. And the next slide is the company, the bank data. I think this is very easy to fill in. So just enter the IBAN and the BIC. And this page might be a little bit more tricky, but if you know like the company structure, who's the shareholder, who are the legal entities, you can enter all of them. So the beneficial owner of the company, who's the shareholder with the most percentage, is the person you have to enter here. And now you can see all your entered data. You can check again if everything is correct, and if everything is right, we have a last step. So next step, the last step is a status page. So now you have finished the payments onboarding part. Now you will get an email via for the post ident. So you can now do the identification process, and the points below are the process points or the verification points we will now do to check if the company data and every data you put in is correctly. And if all those checks are finished, you will receive an email and the payments onboarding is finished.
Perfect. Okay, then we will go to the go live preparation. So after the OTTO Payments onboarding has been successfully completed, you will receive full access to the partner portal, and you can prepare your account for going live. And certain steps need to be completed to go live on Otto.de. Here's an overview of the steps, and we will now go through each step again one by one. So first of all, we will start with the contact management. Here you need to enter various contacts with email addresses. Here I have some examples. The main contact for marketplace business, and one contact is, for example, for contract. updates or issues. And one here is an example for the end customer communication. Then we will have a look to the tax information. First of all, we are starting with the identification numbers. So the VAT ID is taken from the registration. Now here it's empty because it's a test account. But yeah, you would see this VAT identification number from the registration here in this button. And then we ask you from which country you ship your goods to the end customers. And if you, for example, ship some goods from Germany, we also would request a German VAT ID here. And the RSIN is a special Dutch tax number, which you can find on your KVK commercial register. And then we will have a look at the BZST data verification. So the BZST is a German Federal Central Tax Office. And Otto is required to verify that the VAT ID, the company name, and the company address match the data held by the Federal Central Tax Office. So here you can see an example where everything matches. So that's why you see everything in green. And if something is incorrect, we would contact you to clarify the situation. Okay, then we can move on to the shipping and returns information.
Yes, thank you. Warm welcome from my side. I will guide you through the shipping and returns information. This is the first page you will see, and you have to start entering the shipping information. So the shipping costs you will like show the customer on the product detail page and when checking out. And the shipping costs are split in two different types. So for example, we have the standard shipping costs, which mean, they are for the parcel shipments. And then we have a surcharge, which is only for forwarding goods. So if you don't have forwarding goods, you don't need to fill anything in. And it's a surcharge. So if you, for example, have like €5 shipping costs for parcel deliveries and you want to have €10 shipping costs for forwarding goods, each thing has to be filled in with 5, for example. So 5 plus 5 equals 10. After entering the shipping costs, you can go for the standard or default carrier. So for example, DHL or Hermes, and the standard forwarder, for example, E-Commerce. After entering the shipping details, you go for the return information. In this case, I will show you the return information for parcel deliveries. And it's very important to create a default warehouse to sell on Otto.de. The default warehouse must be a physical warehouse, so it must be a real warehouse. And it's either located in Germany or in approved EU countries by us, so by Otto Market. Maybe we can go on the next slide. If you go on add a warehouse or an international warehouse, you will see this page. So you can type in any information about your warehouse. So if you have like if you work with DHL consolidation, or if you have like a own warehouse, as I mentioned earlier, the first warehouse is not allowed to be DHL consolidation, because when you're using DHL Connect, the default warehouse cannot be consolidation. The reason for that is because the default warehouse is used to receive misdirected third-party items from us or from customers, and so we do need a real physical warehouse and not a consolidation hub. Also you can see in the drop-down the approved EU countries which are available right now. That's the first example. The second example on the next slide, if you choose to work with DHL in Göttingen, which we call DHL consolidation method, we pre-fill all the information which is needed to send all the goods from the customers to the warehouse in Göttingen. The only thing you need to fill is the recipient. So, for example, with your company name. if you enter this and you click on the save button, there will be a next page popping up, and that page is all about the routing code information. So if you're working with us and the only option for returns at the moment is DHL. So international returns can only be fulfilled by DHL. You need a DHL contract. Further information to that is located in the partner help desk. So we do provide some information and contacts for DHL contracts if you need to talk to new carrier maybe. So what is the routing code? You can get the routing code by the DHL with the eConnect portal, which means that the routing code is printed on the label. We will go on detail. We will talk about it in the next slide. The other thing is the API stuff. So if you work with an API with DHL, you can see the routing code in the API response. It's called routing code, so it's it's quite simple. The routing code format is also very important, because if it's not the format you can see on the right side, you will have an error message and you cannot save and go to the next steps of the onboarding. For example, it's always in brackets the 2L, and then you have a country code, a postal code, and I think it's 72 million if I'm fast enough. And for example, country codes for the Netherlands is an NL, and we will also go on a further detailed one in the next slide. But if you choose to have DHL consolidation contract, it's always a similar routing code, which is like a DE country code, because the consolidation hub is located in Göttingen. And on the next slide, you can see the eConnect portal, so the routing code which is printed on the label. So you can see the DHL Return Connect label, and then you have two barcodes. And on the upper barcode, you can, it's quite small, so I just resized it. You can see a dummy barcode or routing code from DHL, which means we have the 2L and brackets, and then we have the country code. In this case, it's NL for Netherlands, and then we have the postal code. The postal code means, like, if you're it's always different whether you sit in the Netherlands or in Poland or in Austria, but it all works the same. So this is just specific for the Netherlands. If you work with the API response, or if you generate labels via API, you can see this response if you just created a label or a QR code. And this is with the shipment ID, which you also need to enter in the send event, and you also have the routing code. The routing code never changes, except you're changing your warehouse. But if you just take it once and put it in the partner portal, it might work until you change your warehouse. So this is quite important for you. And it's also important that if you work with a service provider and you have more than one warehouse, so for example, if you go for DHL consolidation, you also need like a default warehouse for third-party items. And in that case, it's very important that you are able, or your service provider is able, to send us a return address carrier ID in the send event. So just be sure, or talk to your service provider, or maybe just go for a quick ticket to OTTO Market support, and we will help you figuring out if it's possible for you. That's just a short side quest, but it's also on a note on the top of the returns information. And that's all according to the shipping information. And then the next step is like entering shipping profiles. That's not new for the most of you, because other big marketplaces have it like quite similar. It's not on detail the same, but I think you will all know entering shipping informations And it's very important to enter shipping informations, because if you want to sell on Otto.de, at least one shipping profile needs to be created and also mapped to your SKUs. If they are not mapped to your SKUs are not available on Otto.de. So yeah, this is like mandatory. So if you're entering that page, you need to add a new shipping profile, because at first you obviously have no shipping profile, because there's no default shipping profile we create for you. And if you click on creating shipping profiles, you need to have a name for the profiles. The name has to be unique. In the API, it's also with an ID. You can also see the ID if you have created the shipping profile in the UI. So like that's for later connection with shipping profile to SKU. After having a unique name, you need to select the delivery type, which is, for example, parcel delivery. Then you can enter the default processing time, which means the time you need in your warehouse to fulfill the order and give it to the for example DHL to send it to the customer. But it's just the time in your warehouse. And also very important for that is the cutoff time, which means if you get orders at 8 a.m. and you're possible to same day deliver or same day fulfill until 11 a.m. you can enter 11 a.m. or in this example 1 p.m. and then the default processing time is like same day fulfillment. You can also select working days. So if you're working on Saturday, you can select Saturday as well. The default working days are Monday to Friday. They are pre-selected, but you can adapt it as you wish. And the last step when editing or creating a shipping profile is entering the transport time, and that's the second time you need to enter after your own fulfillment time in your warehouse. The transport time stands or defines the time, for example, DHL or other carriers need to take the product and go on the last mile until the customer has the shipment. And we do it so we have dynamic and shorter delivery statements, which can change over the days and also over weekends, or if you don't work on some working days, and to improve shopping experience for customers. So we are more exact and more short, which is better for all of us. And that should be all for logistic stuff you need to enter to start with OTTO Market.
Okay, now we have a look at the imprint. So the imprint is displayed to customers on Otto.de, and the most information is already pre-filled, but some need to be added. And we need the seller name. This is the name you want to appear on Otto.de. It is the name that will be displayed on the product as the seller. We also need your telephone number, the email address, and the legal representative. And here I have an example, so you can see the product on Otto.de. And if you click on imprint, you will see on the right side this pop-up with all the information you filled in the partner portal. Now we have some regulations and guidelines. Here we ask you about various regulations that we need. For example, some special numbers. So please read through what is relevant to you again before starting the onboarding process, and feel free to contact us at any time if you have some specific questions to these regulations. Yes, and now my colleague Philip will give you some useful tips for the product data process.
Yeah, so I'm just going to give a quick rundown of some important things regarding product data. First one being, when managing product information, ideally you want to be as comprehensive as possible and give us all the information you have regarding a specific product. But first and foremost, you should focus on the attributes that influence features in the shop. So attributes that concern filter and navigation functionality are super important, as they directly impact findability and visibility of your products. Some examples would be, of course, color and sizing attributes. Furthermore, you want to make sure that your product titles are as short, understandable, and meaningful as possible. The reason for this being that long titles often throw off customers, especially in mobile and app views. Long titles look unappealing because if they are too long, they get cut off in product lists. So make sure to keep title information short and clear while avoiding the use of too many keywords or duplicate buzzwords. And another very important aspect are the bullet points, of course, as they are used to quickly give customers an overview of product details at first glance. You also want to try to keep bullet points as informative as possible, while again making sure they're not too long or too extensive. And last but not least, of course, the attractiveness of a product influences its sales, of course. So make sure to always keep an eye on pricing, availability, and also data maintenance. So it's definitely advisable to every once in a while check your product detail pages on Otto.de to see how they would actually look for a customer browsing the shop. That just gives you a good impression of how your assortment appears online. And yeah, if you make sure these conditions are all well maintained, that will help with sales. And of course, the more a product is viewed and the more a product is sold, the better it ranks in the shop, which then of course leads to even better sales in return.
Okay, then after you have provided the above information, you have the option of placing a test order or skipping this test order. And important to know is that to place a test order, you need a German delivery address. Unfortunately, this will probably not the case for you. We know that this process needs to be improved. But if you have a German delivery or warehouse address, you can, of course, use it, but you do not have to physically send this package, just set the technical status. Otherwise, you can click on skip the test order, and after the test order has been placed or skipped, you will see the following screen. So for the go live, you just click on start selling and your products will be available for customers to order. And now my colleague Florian will explain how you can get access to our API interface.
Yes, thank you, Selina. So finally, let's take a look at how to access the API, which you'll need if you want to automate your marketplace operations. If you're working with a service partner, you will require the user role service partner approvals. If that's the case, to check this, please simply navigate to the user management section and review whether your user has already that permission assigned. If that's the case, then everything is already set up inside the Otto Partner Connect. Your next step then would be to authenticate with Otto Market inside the tool of the service partner. Since each service partner may handle this authentication process slightly differently, we unfortunately cannot show a standardized flow here. If you plan, on the other hand, to use the API through your own technical integration, and without a service partner, you will need another user right, which is called API access. Once this permission has been successfully assigned to your user, you can start creating your own applications to access our API endpoints. When creating an app, you can choose between two different environments, the sandbox environment for testing purposes and the production environment for your live operations. To create your application, simply click on Create a new app. In the next step, you will see a list of available API interfaces. Select the specific APIs that your application should be allowed to access. And this ensures your app only receives the permissions that are relevant for your case. After successfully creating your app, you'll find your access credentials under the Security tab. It is essential that you keep these credentials strictly confidential and do not share them with any third parties. And this setup is intended solely for your own usage of the API. The API credentials are valid for 180 days and must be rotated once they expire. Alternatively, you can register the IP addresses you use to call the API. If you use this option, the credentials will no longer expire, so there won't be an expiration datum. But keep in mind that the API request that you send will then only be accepted from the API addresses that you have provided.
Perfect. Okay, now we are finished with all the input and would like to take some time for your questions. I will have a look in the chat if we have something.